what's up guys? It's Mike from Cornfield Customs, and in this video I'm going to give you 10 tips in 10 minutes to really step your metal shaping game up to the next level. Tip 1 is to get yourself some dead weight bags, and all that is a bag with some kind of material in it like lead or sand that will add weight, and you can lay those on the panels either on the table, on the car, and it will become pretty much your third hand. It lets you put some weight on the piece to hold it down so it's not moving all over the place, gives you a little bit of support, and it also helps deaden some of the sound. I use these a lot for when I'm working on the bench or the table to help support what I'm doing, and you can wedge them underneath of the panel and put a dead weight bag on top to help support it and hold it in place. I like to use small shot bags filled with lead. I use number 8. If you don't want to use lead, you can also use sand. It just doesn't work as good. And I also like to take sections of fire hose, fill that with lead, clamp the end shut, and then you have a really nice long dead weight bag to really support some of the larger panels. Tip number 2 is I like to use Norton Blaze roll-lock discs. The main reason I like to use the Norton brand is the back is like a paper or cardboard material. While a lot of the other manufacturers use like a woven fiber, I don't like the woven fiber just because you can't trim that down. And by trimming it down, what I'm referring to is when you get a larger disc, like a 3-inch disc, but the edge will get dull and it won't feel like it's cutting quite as well. So what I like to do is I'll put this on my roll-lock grinder. I'll take an old screwdriver or an old scribe, run the grinder up, and I can trim that down by cutting into the paper on the back, and then I can take the dull edge off and make smaller discs. It's not like you just get to use a 3-inch disc, then I cut them down until it's into the black plastic on the back. So you get different diameters, you're constantly resharpening the edge by trimming the disc down. So Norton Blaze with the paper or cardboard back is the way to go. All right, tip number 3, this is keep your workspace clean, tidy, and organized. There's 2 main reasons you want to do this. A, it helps you keep your mental focus, stay on task by knowing where all of your tools are that you're using for the project at hand, and it keeps everything clean and tidy in your mind as well with working in a clean workspace. So that's the main thing that helps me stay focused, and I'm not worried about working and looking for tools and just being in a mess. The other good thing to keep in mind is you never know who's going to drop in. Even with a locked door policy, sometimes people do stop in unannounced and you have to have them come in. So with that in mind, you'll have a relatively neat and tidy workspace all of the time within reason because you are working, which does make a little bit of a mess. But you're not so messy that it's going to potentially deter a client or upset a current client because of how messy your workspace is. So always work to be neat and tidy in all of your workspaces. Number 4, always take notes on jobs that you're working on, especially if it's a more complicated task. So I like to take notes on machine settings, how I'm feeling mentally, how I'm feeling physically, and things I learn about that certain task along the way. Especially the more complicated stuff like shaping large panels, quarter panels, or something that I'm going to be doing multiples of in the future. So I get myself a really nice notebook, keep detailed work notes of all of that information. That way it's a great reference in the future when you get back to having to make those parts again, and it gives you that good reference point to just jump right back in. You know, this is the machine setting, this is how I need to be mentally, this is how I need to be physically, and it puts you on the right track to make duplicating these parts much easier. Number 5, ditch using sheet metal screws to hold your panels together. And that's kind of a broad statement, but you want to be able to get away from using them where you can. There are certain instances that you might need to use a screw from time to time, but if you can get away from using those to hold the majority of your panels together, that'll be a really good thing to step your quality up. When using sheet metal screws, every time you take the screw in and out, you're going to kind of chew the hole up a little bit, and you're going to get to a point where the hole is so worn out you have to put in a larger diameter screw or a more aggressive thread. So the best thing you can do, take these screws, pitch them to the side, and start using Clecos. Clecos are great, they're very affordable, and you can take the panel on and off an infinite amount of times and it's never going to damage the hole, chew it up, and they're great for relocating the parts in the exact same spot every time, and the hole is gonna be much smaller. So switch over to Clecos, they're very affordable, and it'll help you step your game up. Number 6, reach out to a professional. We all live in the internet age, we all have some form of social media, especially if you guys are watching this now. Just reach out to somebody that you respect their work ethic, or the level that they work to. Most of the time, these people will be more than happy to reach back out and give you the information you need. So with it being the way it is today, don't be afraid to reach out to those people. The majority of people want to raise everyone else's quality in this industry, so don't be intimidated. Reach out with a DM, an email, a phone call. Ask for advice if you're struggling in a certain area, and I bet you'll get some answers that you need. Number 7, when offsetting edges from your pattern or final layout for hem edges, flanges, or you just need to make your part a little bit bigger during the layout process, get in the habit of using masking tape. Masking tape is a really good solution versus using a set of dividers or calipers to try to go up against that edge and evenly space it across a large panel. Masking tape is going to be a set width of the thickness of tape you choose. So we have 3/4, 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch. There's a bunch of different widths available, so you can really fine tune in your offsets, but it's gonna give you that constant width all the way across, and you're not gonna have any wiggly lines. So get in the habit of using masking tape to offset all of your edges. Number 8, always keep the faces of your hammers and dollies nice, clean, and polished. The nicer the finish on the face of your hammers and dollies, the nicer your panel work's going to be. If you have a nice polished face like this on the hammer, it will burnish or imprint that finish into the panel you're working on. But if you have a hammer like this one that has a lot of surface rust, pits, scratches, it will transfer those marks into your panel as well, leaving a very rough and dirty looking finish. So always keep the face of your hammers and dollies nice, clean, polished, and that will step your panel game up to a nicer finish while you're working. Number 9, always finish your panels out with at least 80 grit on a DA. Always say no to camo grinding. So what camo grinding is when you take a 36 grit or a very aggressive abrasive disc and you grind multiple directions on the panel. And what that's gonna do is it's going to reflect the light differently, and it's going to hide imperfections in the panel. So if you really wanna step your game up, put out nicer parts, you need to be able to adjust the light to get the panel to lay right. So if you're camo grinding all these different directions, it's just gonna make the panel look messy and you're not gonna know how to go forward. So always finish out with at least 80 grit on a DA. Personally, I like to go from 80 grit to 150 and then finish up with a red Scotch-Brite. So say no to camo grinding. And number 10, last but not least, don't be afraid of failure. In this industry, especially the metal shaping industry, you are going to fail a lot. But the best thing about failure in this industry is that it's going to be a huge learning point for you. So every time I fail, I learn a lot on what I did wrong, how the panel reacted to what I did wrong, and what I need to do in the future to correct that. So everything in this industry is going to teach you something, and failure on a part or on a relationship or with a client is going to teach you how to not let that happen again in the future. So don't be afraid of failure, embrace it and use it as a learning point to grow better. All right, guys, well, hopefully this was beneficial with 10 tips in 10 minutes. I really think these are super important tips to work into your daily work routine to help you step your game up to be a better craftsman and put out nicer work all around. So hopefully it was beneficial. I do appreciate you guys watching this. Drop down in the comment section. Let me know what you think, if you've implemented any of these processes into your work life, and just let me know how it's been going for you. So thank you guys so much for checking this out, and we will catch you on the next one.